Hello and welcome to another game review. It is quite hard to make a review of a game this large in scope. Every time I try to come up with something witty to say that would include my opinions about this game, I go on a tangent about the many things that this game did well, or not. Even in the intro for it, I can't stay on track. That is why I will start by saying something that might turn people off of this review. Here it goes. This game is a good medieval life simulator, but when you look at the gameplay and what it tries to present as a RPG game, it is quite lacking. So if you aren't already writing an angry comment, do stay a bit more and find out about what made me feel this way. When I hear that a new RPG is coming out, I always rejoice. Who doesn't like to make a character in a game and see where your choices lead them and what kind of person he will end up becoming after everything is said and done? But in this game, the role-playing part of this role-playing game got somehow lost underneath the story and the character that the game actually wanted to make. Yeah, I did get prompted to choose sometimes. I decided to throw shit at someone's house just because they insulted the king. That is what my character was supposed to be, and a thief on top of everything else. But after playing for hours and somehow feeling like I am playing the introduction part of the game, my character started acting up when someone asked him to steal something. Even after I stole a whole armor set an hour before, which was actually part of the main story mission. This was so immersion breaking that I never felt like I am playing an actual RPG, even though it has the classic character building menu and it giving me the ability to level many different aspects of my character. And yes, I was given the ability to choose what to say to NPCs, but it was either only 2 choices or 5 that lead to the same end. So yeah, if it's not a good RPG, what is it then? Well, it is what I call a medieval sim game, and when I look at it as one, it actually delivers. I just love how handcrafted everything looks. While walking through the woods and enjoying the freedom, I saw so many things that just blew my mind. Taking a stroll through a wooden path that is overgrown with trees or brushes, and all of it swaying gently in the breeze while the sun shines through the branches. I know it doesn't mean much these days, where you have to try and make a bad looking game, but this one actually made it look so natural, and on top of everything, me living in a place that has similar hills with overgrown paths through it might make me a bit biased towards it. On the other hand, the towns are densely populated and seem to have a life of their own. Everyone is going on about their business. The scribes are writing, bakers are baking, everything looks beautiful and idyllic. I could roam around the countryside of this game for hours and not get bored with it. But this brings me to another gripe that I have with this game. For some reason, I feel like most of the time that was poured into this game was spent on making the world feel immersive and believable, which I appreciate a lot in this day and age of greed and microtransactions. But for every village that I went through and gasped at how nice it looks and at the awesomely done voice acting, I cringed and wanted to quit the game for making me do one of its stupid side quests or for loading for a moment every time I want to start a conversation. You see, the conversations don't happen naturally and while the game is going on. It mostly resembles the Elder Scrolls Oblivion, where you go into a separate pocket dimension where it's just me and my conversation partner, and because of that, it has to load up. At first, I thought that's just my PC, but considering that everything runs at 60 FPS, I doubt it. Besides the immersion-breaking cinematics that happen all the time, pushing the story on its own track away from whatever I wanted to roleplay as, I have another thing that I find quite problematic. It might be my action-addicted brain, but for the life of me, I cannot say this game has good combat. It feels so floaty and sometimes unresponsive. I see what they tried to do, but instead of giving me freedom to do whatever I want and strike from any position, it always ends up with me waiting for a timed block and then throwing few hits back. You can write in the comments about how I can't play games, but in my opinion, games like Mount & Blade did this type of combat much better. And on top of everything, a third-person camera would have done this game a great service. but I guess it's hard to program it in. And talking about programming, I ran into many bugs. Some were graphic bugs, some were game glitches, and the classic straight to Windows crashes. For a game that was so long in beta, it does seem like it needed a bit more time. And just another thing to mention before I finish the review, I do love the lockpicking and pickpocketing mechanics. They are actually quite well done and original, even though the stealth is done badly without any indication of how well hidden you are, and every guard in a kilometer radius coming for you when anyone sees you doing any of these activities. So, to wrap this all up, even after listing all these bad things about the game, I do have to say that people should try it. It is quite obvious that it is a passion project that is made by people that did their best to make something good, and at moments it shows. But on the other hand, it has flaws that make it quite hard to sit through until you get to the nice moments. So, if you want to experience the Middle Ages in its whole glory, and to enjoy some nicely crafted environments, this is the game for you. But if you want a game with actually good gameplay and where you can do whatever you want, you should skip and play a proper RPG. As always, goodbye and thanks for listening.
Fucking shit. Don't you agree?
I might not have put it as eloquently as you, Hanush, but I've been driven out of my own castle, so I'm hardly going to disagree.